The Grand Canyon is a work of art that has been 6 million years in the making, carved by the relentless force of the Colorado River. At over a mile deep and averaging 10 miles wide, it's an awe-inspiring sight made up of thousands of colorful layers of ancient rock. It's a masterpiece that attracts around 5 million people a year.
But I don't like people, so I'm going to head out to the Grand Canyon to some more remote spots where hopefully there aren't a bunch of people hanging out. To get to those spots, I'm going to be taking a lot of unpaved roads over the next few days, so I'm airing down for comfort and going to head south from here and try and get to my first spot before it's completely dark. And considering the sun has just set, it's probably not a race I'm going to win. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be dark long before I get there. I had a really late start to this trip because I've been working all day, actually been working all weekend. I got a job with X-Grid Campers, so I've been working down the show in Flagstaff and came up here as soon as I could. I'm actually taking this trip as like a little side trip on the way back to their shop in Vegas, so that's why I'm towing a trailer back for them, and figured I'd come out here and enjoy a few days camping on the way.
The route had started off smooth and well maintained, but as dark set in, I made a turn off to the east along one of the rougher spurs that heads out to the edge of the canyon. It wasn't difficult, but would slow me down enough that it would be completely dark by the time I reached camp.
Well, I made it to close to the end of the trail, and hilariously, both of the spots on the edge of the Grand Canyon are taken by groups of people. You can see the lights there. I guess that's what happens when you come here at the end of a 3-day show. You know, everyone's on their way home, wants to find a cool spot to camp. And I talked to one of the groups, and they were actually a bunch of guys that I know that were exhibiting there, and I'm assuming the other group's probably on their way home too. But they said that they're going to be leaving pretty early tomorrow morning, so once they've gone by, I'll go down to the very end and show you why this is such a cool spot. In the meantime, trailer, I just parked and trailer's ready. So I'm going to get in, go to bed. I'll see you in the morning. We ended up getting pretty windy last night, but that's one of the nice things about staying in a trailer is you don't feel it nearly as much. You don't have all that material flapping around, you're not being pushed from side to side nearly as much. I think the newer models of this trailer actually have stabilizer jacks on the back as well to keep it like planted, which would be pretty awesome, especially if you're popping a tent up. And it turns out that I did actually have a view of the Grand Canyon. I just didn't realize it because it was completely dark last night. Woke up this morning and looked out the window, and there it was. But right now, I'm gonna lock up the last few things on the trailer. We'll head down to the viewpoint at the end. Well, this is a fantastic spot. Hey, look at those views. You got the Grand Canyon right here. National Park begins, I don't know, like a few feet that way, but it's a very steep entrance to the national park. So I won't be visiting from here, but incredible views. Obviously you got, you know, massive canyons, Colorado River down there. It's actually really peaceful down here too. Like there's no wind down here for some reason. So you just got the sound of the birds tweeting, and I think I can just hear the Colorado River down below me. I do wish I could fly my drone here, but unfortunately it's not allowed. I did actually incorrectly in a previous video of mine say that you can fly a drone here, but even though you're not in the national park, you're on BLM land here, this is all restricted airspace, like all along the edge of the Grand Canyon, basically the entire length of it. So no drone flying here, but we're getting ready to head up onto the plateau, and I can do what I want up there. There appears to be two ways to get to the top of the plateau from here. One of them is to backtrack all the way to the highway and then take paved roads up through Jacob Lake and basically take the main road out towards the North Rim. The other way is a shortcut that I saw on Onyx Maps. It basically goes straight up the side of the plateau, and that's the way I'm going. Looks way more interesting, way more fun, and will probably take way longer.
Instead of turning north towards the highway, I turned south to take my much slower shortcut, skirting along the edge of the plateau for several miles.
I just passed a sign saying that I'm entering a wildlife area, and according to the sign, there are bison out here, which I had no idea. Didn't know there were bison in this part of the world. I won't be in this area long, even though this road does continue going for quite a long way out to another viewpoint over the Grand Canyon, similar, I'd imagine, to the one I was at this morning, because I'm actually going to be turning right in about half a mile, head up a windy road that goes out of the wildlife area and up onto the plateau.
After turning west, I started the near constant climb towards the top of the Kaibab Plateau, which sat almost 3,000 feet above me. The route wound its way up and along Tater Ridge, overlooking both the Grand Canyon behind me and Tater Canyon to my left.
It's an awesome drive here up along the side of the canyon. Obviously, I was expecting views in the mirror behind me, but I wasn't expecting views off to the side in that canyon. It's also amazing how quickly it's changed from the desert floor to these small trees and bushes, and some of them smell amazing. Like, I've had my window down, it smells really good. seen a spot I want to get to, but I think it's a dead end. And this is the downside to having a trailer, is, well, you can back it up. It's a lot more difficult than just backing up the truck by itself. I've just come across an awesome little campsite on the road up here. There's a side road that led off to basically a single campsite with a fire ring, but views across to where we were this morning, all the way down there. You can see from up here, it basically just looks like a giant crack in the ground all the way across there. I'll mark this spot for Patreon. I'm not gonna be staying here because it is far too early in the day, but it did make a great spot to stop and eat some lunch. And now that I've had that, we continue on up the hill to the top of the plateau. So we just reached the switchbacks, which is the steepest part of the trail. It's also the last little bit of the climb, so we're almost to the top. And something I didn't realize is that this last little section that we're on now is actually a road that I took years ago when I filmed the original Overland movie. And obviously I knew I'd come through the area, I just didn't realize I'd gone down the edge of the plateau so far. So, I don't know, it's fun. It's cool to be back and see this again. We're out of the scrubby area with all the bushes and very much into the forest. Big trees all around us. And one of the things I love about this area is there's so many roads, like just a huge network of roads and thousands of campsites everywhere up here, because every little offshoot has a little spot to camp at the end of it. So it's super easy to find a place to camp for tonight. However, I'm gonna go for a spot that I've never been to that is on the edge of the plateau, and I'm hoping has views across down to where we were earlier today. So even though it's late May right now, it's clearly like either early spring or spring hasn't quite started up here on the Kaibab Plateau just because of the altitude. I'm looking around at all these aspen, and I've got thousands of them all around me, and none of them have any leaves on them yet. There are a few groves around here that's starting to get their leaves in, but nothing fully grown yet. It is definitely a lot colder up here, and I'm expecting a cold night tonight. Well, this is a bit of a tight squeeze. I've got a fallen tree on my left, and then some more trees on the inside of the corner. And that's where having a trailer can be a little more difficult, because I've got to get around that tree on the inside of the corner. So I get as close to this fallen tree as I can. Try crunching a bunch of it with my bumper. I should have enough room. Looks like I am just clear. All right, we made it through, but that was a challenge. That is the reason why I built my Tundra out the way I did, with the alley cab on the back, because I wanted to be able to explore little side trails like this and be able to back out of them easily if necessary. Talking of which, I think I've got a tree blocking the road in front of me. Well, I don't actually know if my saw is big enough to cut through this, but I will give it a go. I'll cut off as much as I can. I might be able to pull the rest out of the way. All right, we are clear-ish. Clear enough for me to get through. It is sticking out into the road a little bit, but I couldn't move it any further than that. Not without, I mean, I guess I could have winched, but I think it'd be just as stuck or sticking out just as far the other way if I'd winched it. And I'm not cutting anymore. That was hard enough. That's someone else's turn for the rest. And let's face it, if I can get through with a truck and a trailer, I think most stuff can get through. Anything bigger than this is going to get held up by that last tree that was on the inside of a corner. And thankfully I'm out of the tight trees and into the meadows, and everything else from here on out should be well-maintained roads.
The Kaibab Plateau has hundreds of miles of crisscrossing Forest Service roads that weave their way through the national forest. They vary from well-maintained gravel roads wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass to narrow tracks cutting through tight gaps in the trees. But my favorite roads are the ones that follow the wide open meadows.
Well, I got myself a nice little campsite for the evening. I am not too far away from the edge. It's just through the trees there. I could keep backing up and go around these trees, but it's not very level there, and it means more backing, and I've backed far enough into this one, and I'm happy where I'm at, but I can walk down here and take a look. So I've got a view through the trees. You got cliffs off in that direction and that giant crack in the ground behind me where we camped out last night, so you can still see that from up here. There are actually better spots along this route, but ironically, they're taken by people. Once again, you know, it's not crowded up here. I've got no one around me, no one close by, but some of the best spots are taken. I do have my drone though, so I think once I've sorted dinner, I'm gonna put the drone up. This trailer might have a fancy kitchen, but if you've watched my channel before, you probably know I'm into the microwave meals because they're quick and they're easy. If you're new here, then you should probably subscribe to the channel if the microwave meals didn't just put you off.
With my curry heated, I settled down to eat and enjoy the sights and sounds of the forest from the edge of the plateau.
It is already getting chilly and the sun hasn't even set yet, so I think what I'm gonna do is turn on the heat in the camper, take my laptop in, do some editing, and I'll see you in the morning. Well, I think it was cold last night, but I wouldn't really know because I was in here with the heat on. It's got 2 inches of insulation in the walls. I was nice and toasty. It was still pretty chilly when I got up in the morning, but it's warmed up now that the sun's come up. And that's perfect because I'm about to go out and start exploring the network of roads across the Kaibab Plateau here. Hopefully I can find myself some more hidden viewpoints through the trees.
I was heading towards the southern edge of the Kaibab Plateau, back into the restricted airspace that would stop me from flying my drone for the rest of the day. The first viewpoint I stopped at was from one of the better known hikes in the area that goes out to Saddle Mountain.
This is the southernmost spot of the Kaibab Plateau that you can drive to without actually entering the national park itself. From here, the national park starts just there, just right off that edge. But you can walk along the edge of the national park here up onto Saddle Mountain over there. But I'm not quite prepared to do a hike like that, especially at this altitude right now. But you don't have to go all that way because you can stop right here at this viewpoint. From here you can actually see where we camped at still off in the distance way over there. And obviously it's a totally different view from here. Over there, it's one giant crack in the ground, whereas from here, you're right at the edge of what is obviously the Grand Canyon. You've got a series of canyons going off basically as far as I can see off in the distance. And from here, I'm on the southeast side of the plateau. I'm going to head across to the west side now, where it'll be a totally different view. I'm gonna make a quick stop for gas first, because I'm down to about a third of a tank. And there's a gas station conveniently placed out here. There's another one up at Jacob Lake, but that's a lot further out the way. This is way more convenient. But now we are going to continue west. Down here, so yeah, on that one. While I don't plan on actually going into the national park on this trip, I do think that it's something that's worth doing if you haven't been. Been to both the South Rim and the North Rim, and the views are fantastic. My recommendation is, if you can do it, come up to the North Rim instead. It is a lot less busy. Now at the South Rim, to get in, you're gonna sit in a long line of traffic, and then huge parking lot, crowds everywhere. Whereas with the North Rim, there's never any traffic, there's no line, no wait at the entrance booth, and you just walk on down to the viewpoints, and there's usually not a lot of people there. So I've made it out to Crazy Jug Viewpoint. Actually set up, there's like a little campsite right in the middle of the loop here. So I set up in it, but I don't think I'm gonna stay here. It's a little early, so I might keep exploring. But I've got some glimpses on the drive down here, and I think this view is gonna be incredible. This is a fantastic viewpoint over the Grand Canyon. This may even be one of the best viewpoints, or if not the best viewpoint that I've been to. I think I like this one more than the ones in the national park. You can see the Grand Canyon down there, and it kind of stretches off into the distance over that way, so you can look along the length of the Grand Canyon. This is fantastic. And the best part is there's no one here, no one at all. As you go into you go near the visitor center in the national park itself, and the South Rim is super crowded. North Rim, there's going to be a few people around, but here, you just hang out here as long as you want. Last time I was out here was years ago, and it was actually, I'd say it's like 8 months after my channel had been monetized. I finally saved up enough money for a massive cross-country trip. And we came out to this area to the west side of the plateau. We stayed on one of the little spits of land somewhere over there. And just a short walk from camp had incredible views over this entire area here. And I thought about heading back over there to camp, but have decided I'm just gonna stay here since I'm already parked and set up. And it'll give me some extra time to shower and get some editing done, because this week's video is due in a few days and is not edited or even uploaded. So I'm gonna get working on that. Well, I'm all washed up and feeling clean. My video is still not edited, but I think it's time to grab a bourbon and go watch the sunset. There are dozens of overlooks all along the edge of the Grand Canyon on the Kaibab Plateau up here. I could spend weeks just exploring all of those little roads that go out to the end of the plateau. But I'm going to head somewhere a little different now. I'm going to head off to the west and down off the plateau. So I was going to say I need to get packed up, but I guess I need to lock the doors and then it's time to leave. The landscape is steadily changing as we slowly make our way down from the plateau. We started in the thick pine tree forests, and now a much more open area, lots of bushes. And I think as we keep going, we're gonna make our way out onto the desert scrub with the sagebrush everywhere. Well, the scenery just changed again, and we end up in this beautiful canyon. And I really wasn't expecting it. When I put this route together, I was just following green recommended trails. I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to the topography, but it's been a really cool route so far. I'm enjoying it. Well, we just reached pavement, so I'm going to air up the tires. They're sitting around 15 psi since I aired down several days ago, which obviously helped a lot for the comfort on this trip, whether it's the rocky climbs, the washboard roads, and so on. But not ideal for paved roads. Lower tire pressures tend to mean they warm up faster, so greater risk of blowout and more tire wear. And I've got a significant chunk of pavement ahead of me. Got to go up and around to get to the next spot. Gotta make sure I get some gas along the way. And I am airing down again. This is where I'm going, and I guess I've probably got about 60 miles to get there. And it's all super easy roads like this, but I've gone not even a quarter mile, and it's already super washboardy. So I'm gonna air down to try and absorb some of those washboards. I do have the permit for today. Actually, I have it for today and tomorrow. There is one other problem with going there, but I'll talk about that one when we get closer.
The route to the overlook I was heading to was actually exactly 60 miles. The first 30 miles or so took me along dusty roads across the flat and fairly featureless desert. Although there wasn't much to see, the road was well maintained, allowing me to make fast progress. Around 30 miles in, the terrain changed. The flat expanse had given way to rolling hills interrupted by ancient lava flows and cones and scattered with dark igneous rocks.
I don't think it shows on camera how rough this part of the road is. You know, we're dealing with washboards, which is fine because with washboards, you can just go a little bit faster and it tends to be okay. But it's turned into a very rocky, they're not big rocks, just rocks, little rocks in the road. That just means there's a constant jostling. And I'm not able to go particularly fast, so anywhere between about 10 and 15 miles per hour on this. Which is a shame because this part of the road is out and back. I'm going out to the viewpoint. I'm gonna come right back out along this section to get to where I want to camp tonight. It is pretty though. We're kind of going along a large valley or a really wide canyon. And I don't know, I've never been out to this viewpoint before. Unfortunately, this area of the national park has a maximum vehicle length of 22 feet, which is a little bit longer than my Tundra. But obviously when I include a trailer in that, I'm way over 22 feet. So I have to unhook the trailer and leave it out here and go on in the rest of the way in just the Tundra. I'll come back out and get it once I've admired the view. I just stopped at the entrance station to the national park. It's manned by a couple of volunteers, super nice people. And they said that I could have actually dropped the trailer off there at the entrance station. I didn't have to leave it outside the national park in a random field. So if anyone's coming up here with a trailer, that's good to know.
It's about a 7-mile drive to the overlook along rough roads that require a high clearance vehicle. but once you reach the end, it's just a short walk to the edge. Despite its remote location, the Toroweap viewpoint used to be overcrowded with hundreds of vehicles visiting a day during the peak season. This led to long lines backed up at the entrance station with people waiting to get in and park in a limited space. In 2022, a permit system was introduced limiting visitors to 20 vehicles per day. It worked. At the viewpoint, I was one of 3 people.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool spot to come out to. It's a long drive to get here, a very bumpy drive. But I'd say it's worth coming out to at least once to see the view down here, a little closer, well, on the edge of the center of the canyon. Somewhere over there is also where I want to camp tonight at the Whitmore Canyon overlook. It's about 10 miles down the river, but I think I have to do like 50 or 60 miles round trip back out the national park and around the mountain. I don't know if I'm going to make it tonight, so I'm going to get going and do my best. If not, I may end up in the mountains somewhere. Well, I'm out of the national park. I got the trailer hooked up again behind me. Doesn't take too long to hook up. It's a little bit more difficult than your traditional trailer, just because it's got that 360 hitch, and you got to get that little pin lined up with a hole on there. But it didn't take me more than about 5 minutes. And now I'm heading towards camp, and I don't actually know where that's going to be. I really want to make it to Whitmore Canyon, but I would guess that I'm at least a few hours away, and it's currently just past 4 o'clock. But we'll see. If there's no suitable sites along the way, then I guess I'll just keep on going. But if I find a really cool spot, then I may stop a little earlier.
The road towards Whitmore Canyon took me up and around Mount Trumbull. The climb is a little over 2,000 feet, so once again I went from the hot, scrub-covered desert up into the bushes and trees where it was several degrees cooler. At the far side of the mountains, I noticed a campsite off the side of the road that I couldn't say no to.
Well, I did say to myself, if I found an epic spot, that I might stop a little early and not keep going on until after dark. And I do think I'm still at least a couple hours out from the Whitmore Canyon overlook. It's just taking a lot longer than I thought it would. And then I came across this off the side of the road, just noticed it up and off to the left, and I got views all the way across the valley off into the distance, and I think this will be a great spot for sunset. I also think it'll be a little cooler up here since we've got some altitude. It was just over 90 degrees in the national park earlier, and I don't know what temperatures, I haven't checked, but it's definitely not 90 degrees right now. I'm gonna get some dinner going, get my upload going, and then as the sun sets, I think it's gonna be bourbon time again. This ended up being a great spot to camp. I enjoyed watching the sunset from up here. Ended up cooling down to what I think is like the perfect camping temperature. I was very comfortable last night. And this morning, as it's warming up, there's been a slight breeze, which has helped keep it very pleasant up here. And now I'm gonna head down to the Mount Trumbull schoolhouse, which is a white dot somewhere over there that I can't quite see on the screen of my camera. But first, I need to back out of my campsite. Well, I made it out to the schoolhouse, but from here, I probably would need to rethink my direction. I've been down to the Whitmore Canyon Overlook before. I actually went down there. It was the first overnight trip I took out of my brand new Tundra when I bought this thing. It's pretty unrecognizable now. And I actually went with a trailer on that one too, simply because I didn't have any kind of tent at all out here. So I borrowed a trailer, one of the ones that X-Grid carries as well, coincidentally. But the problem I have is time. I need to get back to St. George. I need to wash the trailer because it's a rental and it's going out with a customer tomorrow. But I also need to get an alignment on the truck in St. George before I drive all the way back to Vegas. I noticed on my first night out that the alignment is off, and you may have noticed some of my shots have been steering kind of to the right. So I want to get that fixed before I take a 2-hour drive. And I just don't think there's time in the day. From here, it is 50-mile round trip out to Whitmore Canyon Overlook and back, and then another 50 miles to the north to get to St. George. And I've got to get this trailer back tonight, so I just don't have enough time to do it. Thankfully, I had all my old footage, so I was able to show that to you because it is a really cool spot to go to. If you liked this video, please give me an interaction, whether it's a like or a comment. Both helps with the algorithm. And I suggest going and watching the video where I took my son out to go find a bunch of Butch Cassidy's hideouts in Utah. I'll pop it up on the screen so you can click that to see that next. Thanks for watching.